Thank you for waking up with Be Sweet, y'all, where we come together to go in mind, body, and spirit so we can in turn go out and make the world a brighter and sweeter place to live for ourselves and for others. This is our end of our 7th season, and it's a long one. It's a weird long one. We started this one should have been over in January, but since I decided to go to a 4-month season, I decided, let's just start over let's just do a whole 4 months on top of the 2 months. Yeah, crazy. So it was a long season. So a lot happened. So I'm going to go over a little bit of that with y'all and talk a little bit about thanking my sponsors that made the last season happen, this past season. And then we'll move forward with all our new sponsors. And super excited about, but probably the biggest change you're going to see, we're not different in our intention and what we're doing with this podcast or any of those things. What is different is our name. Y'all, I just ran into so much friction with the word ass. And why I think the word ass is just darling. I think it's just a darling name. Everybody doesn't feel that way. And it blocks algorithms. It makes some people not even be able to say it. Some people will say happy A instead of happy ass. And although I'll always be a happy ass, I think we've just evolved from there. And I've always ended with the phrase, be sweet, y'all. So that's it. We're now be sweet, y'all. Because that is not a big jump. Because the whole message in this is to be sweet to yourself and to others and how you live, how you think, your motives, all those things. So that's what I want to happen for us. And I tell you, I want to talk about one thing I'm excited about is my book launch. And I don't know the date, but I'm meeting with the editor and formatter this morning to kind of get things going because I kept hitting roadblocks. Writing it is not hard, y'all. That's not hard. The hard part is being brave enough to put it out and then figure out how to do that. Because that part, organizational stuff, the details, not my gig. So I want to talk a little bit about what happened last year. And I don't have my Pepsi. Y'all, I always have my Pepsi with me. Pepsi was a sponsor. They came on into the second part of the season. So grateful for them. They've just been a wonderful, wonderful advocate of me, and I cannot thank them enough. Thank you, Pepsi. Okay, so this is the deal. Before we move on to what's next, I want to thank some of the incredible people who sat in the seats and kind of what we talked about. So you can go back and listen if you want to. Like Britt Matthews, oh my gosh, my darling daughter. We are so alike to be so different. I mean, I tease her and I call her Claire. Did you ever watch Modern Family? Claire, was it Huxtable? I don't know, Claire whatever. And Phil Dunphy, they were the Dunphys. So Phil Dunphy, I'm more Phil Dunphy and Britt's more Claire, more worry about everything, worried about germs and stuff like that. I don't even think they exist, so yeah. But Britt and I talked a lot about internal dialogues and soundtracks and things like that. We also talked about mental health because that's very important to both of us. And we both have struggled. I haven't struggled so much with that, with depression or anxiety or anything like that. I've struggled with people pleasing, being codependent, the things that naturally kind of happen when you grow up in alcoholism and then you continue to seem to find those kind of people and raise those kind of people. Goodness gracious. So we talk about that kind of stuff. One of my faves was I got together with Lacey Maxwell and Christy Claunch. Lacey's my past assistant, Christy's my assistant now, and we just talked about how fun it is to work together. They also pointed out some of my quirky things about how I do not get upset about the big things. Don't get upset at the big things at all. But I'll lose my mind if we give out a half and half. So it's just, we're such fun and diverse people. And how fun for us to just kind of look at how we're alike, how we're different, and just laugh at us, laugh at our silliness, but also just embrace our uniqueness and our differences so we can go out and just make the world a better place. It's just so exciting. Y'all, Lacey Counts, powerhouse mom and entrepreneur. who reminded us about the beauty in our unique past. So if you want to go back and listen to that, it's amazing. I think we repeated it this season because it was just such a great episode. So important. Daniel Pratt, Daniel Pratt, dear friend, and he owns Panama City Coffee. He's still a musician, but by necessity, the musician is kind of having to take a little backseat to his entrepreneurship, because frankly, he has a bunch of kids and he's got to figure out how to raise them. Same with me. Like, there's so many things that I want to do, but practically I have to have my paying job so that I can do all these other things. We also spoke with Jade Patronis. So Jade Patronis, she is just, I love it because let me tell you something about Jade. When I call her, she acts so excited to see me. That is such a gift. If I call somebody, maybe sometimes my children are like this, like, yeah, hey, Jade never does that. She is so happy to hear from me. So delighted to hear from me. And that is just so lovely. That's so lovely. I'm so thankful. So go back and listen to Jade. You'll see her more on here. She is just a real sweet friend. Alan Branch. What do I have to say about Alan Branch? Number one, Alan Branch is Lacey Counts' brother. And after I found that out a while back, I realized that explains some things. It does. Well, Alan Branch is an amazing mayor. I think he's been the mayor of our darling Panama City for a little over a year now and just has done a fabulous job. What a smart, progressive, brilliant man he is. And I don't know if any mayor could ever love a city more than Alan Branch. So go back and listen to that one if you want to. I had Dan Hines, who used to be a finance kind of coach and like that. But he ended up realizing that he loved editing YouTube videos. And so he just totally reinvented himself. And now he's doing that. I think he calls it the edutainment industry or something like that. And he's so great. What I loved about Dan when he was in finance, he was a person who was good at finance that didn't make you feel like an idiot. I mean, you didn't feel stupid when you talked to him. Even though you might have felt kind of stupid, he did not make you feel like you were beneath him and made you feel comfortable to discuss those issues with him. So he is just super fun. He talks about his journey of going on Tony Robbins things and walking on fire, y'all. I want to do that one day. I really do. I'm scared to death. But my word this year is courage. So, you know what? Let me give you a little advice in the middle of this. If you don't want to be challenged, and if you don't want to find every dab burn opportunity to develop courage, don't pick courage as your word. Don't do it. Just if you want to do it, don't do it. I mean, so this year, because I picked the word courage, I can't tell you how many opportunities I've had. Now, I haven't taken them all, that I've had to tap into courage and do things that I'm very uncomfortable with. Say things I'm comfortable with saying, be a person that I'm comfortable being, stop doing things. I mean, y'all, it's just like, it's like if you choose the word patience, I think God, the universe, all those things are going to give you many reasons to develop patience. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So then, what a long season. And there was Becca Harden. I love her. I told the story about being with Becca Harden, and she and I getting a birdie. She got a birdie, then I got a birdie on the golf course. We'll never forget that day. We'll never forget that day. And she is such a powerful woman. I love Becca because Becca is one of these women who is so brilliant. I mean, brilliant and powerful, has a high-powered job, but she doesn't make you feel that way. She makes every person in the room feel like they're worthy and they need to be there. I think part of that is she has a child that has Down syndrome, and she's a darling kid, and she encourages that kid to do everything in the world she wants to do. And I think she carries that message on with other people. Candy Gardner Woods, she's an author. She wrote a great book. I think she's written several, actually. And Candy came from a very, I don't want to call it tumultuous, but maybe an upbringing that made her question how things were being done and wanted to be different. And she kind of raised above that. So she's writing right now the Manual Chronicles. And the Manual Chronicles is the book that she wrote. Forgive me there. But Candy is delightful. She's an author and she is a speaker. She's a trainer. She's a coach. Come check that one out. Maurice Hunter is an artist that I met through all the art shows that we do at Beachy Beach. But he has a self-love project. And I wondered why he has hearts and everything and peace signs and all those things like that. But he teaches a message of self-love. And he learned that by going through, like many of us do, by going through a horrible relationship that kind of took him down. And he started writing love notes to his daughter on a daily basis as she grew up so that she could learn a little bit about him and apply that to her life when was so needed, which I think is so amazing. And I had Earl Mooring, who is a fairly new broker at PPG and Beachy Beach, managing broker. He has made my life so much better. He has taken some things off my plate. We are a firm believer at Beachy Beach that you should work in the areas of your giftedness. Y'all, there's a lesson right there. If you are not gifted in something, it is not what you were put here to do, don't even worry about it. Get you a calculator. Get you an assistant. Hire you a housekeeper. Have somebody clean your car. Don't stress about what you're not good at. Please, please, if you hear nothing I say today, hear that what we do in our life is going to make an impact by the things that we do well. And the things that we don't do so well, kind of talk about them and be honest with them so that maybe other people can feel okay in the areas where they're not okay. So Earl Mooring is just a delightful guy. He's so fun, so kind, so insightful, and he talks about moving here and how he loves living here and boating and his family. So just catch that. And Angela from Habitat for Humanity, what a delight to have her. I love Habitat for Humanity. My love for Habitat for Humanity actually started because of Jimmy Carter, because I was a Jimmy Carter. I'm still a Jimmy Carter fan. I just love what he stood for. I love his humanitarian streak. I love that he loved all God's kids, gay, straight, black, white, does not matter. He knew that all of us were God kids. He taught that in his Sunday school message. I was able to go see his Sunday school class with Jody and Erica. It was highlight of my life. So please come be a part of that episode. It was wonderful. So I want to talk to you. So those were the things that happened last season. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on for next season. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so we're going to be talking a lot about that. I may really dig into my codependency no more stuff. If I'm brave enough. Hey, my word's courage. I need to do that, right? Yeah. So I want to also talk to you a little bit about my book. I'm going this morning to meet with Dennis to do my book, to talk about the editing, talk about the formatting, which I said has been the hardest part for me. My sweet daughter sent me flowers yesterday, and I just cried because, it's just a momentous occasion because I have put that book off. And even now, every now and then I'll go, why am I doing this? What am I doing? You're borrowing money out of your savings account, Karen, when you need to put your house back together from the water damage to get this book published. What? Why are you doing that? But this is why I'm doing that. I heard something this morning. Somebody said, books change lives. This is not so much about the book. It's who you become in the process of reading that book. It's who you become in the process. So books saved my life. And I've talked about this before, and it's worth repeating again because it's what keeps me going. And what keeps me doing this podcast too. When I was a little girl and was so frightened and living in an alcoholic home, and I felt so unsure of myself. And that was just the first. That, this continued my whole life in times of doubt and confusion and fear and all those things. I would sit on my bed as a 10-year-old child, and I would read every book I could get my hands on. Booker T. Washington, Up From Slavery was one of my all-time favorite books. Of course, anything Norman Vincent Peale read, everything that Zig Ziglar wrote. Of course, I read the Bible. I was really into Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, probably Proverbs more than anything. Any of the verses that talked about how amazing we are and how the power of our words are so important, and we can really do big things with our life even though it looks impossible. What is impossible, So I did that, and I started writing affirmations, and I noticed a trend with people who were powerful and who had done something with their lives in spite of what it looked like they could do with their lives. They had something in common. They all believed in the power of the words. They all found mentors. They all looked at possibilities, and they all were grateful. They all found something to be grateful for. And they weren't spending their time looking at what couldn't be done. They were spending time looking at what could be done. What can be done? What can I do with this one beautiful, precious, amazing life that God has given me? How can I make it matter? How can I make it count? How can I take every bad thing that ever happened to me, every bad thing that ever happened, and look at it and use it to move forward? How can I look back at what happened to look ahead and use that for the good of me and for the good of others? How can I do that? And I can't do it by wallowing there. I cannot do it by being a victim. I cannot, I shall not, I will not. It never works. I want you to tell me one person in your lifetime, one, who by being a victim, who by lamenting how horrible their life was, how terrible their parents were, how terrible their circumstances were, did they make a difference in someone's life? They didn't. They didn't even make a difference in their life. Well, maybe a difference, but not a good difference. So books that I read meant so much to me. There was times when I would read a book, like I'm reading When the Heart Waits right now, over and over and over, that I just go, stop for a minute and go, God, thank you. Thank you that you gave that person courage enough to write that book, because it's impacting me so much. It's changing my life. Did they have any idea that this person that they did not know, that it would change my life so much so I could change the lives of others? Another book that meant a lot to me was Present Over Perfect. And I didn't read that when I was really young. I kind of read that, after divorce, after sickness, after many addictions in my family. And I wrote something in here when I was reading that book. I love to write in books. I love to take, and I hope when I publish my book that you write everywhere. You highlight it, you write in it, you star it, you just do all that. I just want you to use it. I want it to be a working, moving manuscript that changes your life. Can you tell I'm getting a little bit excited? Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry, not sorry. So I wrote this, and it says, I can't hear the voice of love when I'm hustling. I can't hear the voice of love when I'm hustling. And that's in Present Over Perfect. I read that, and then I wrote that because I read something in there that was talking about when I'm moving too fast, when I'm not stopping to take time to just pause, then I'm not able to hear the voices of love around me. I'm moving too fast. I'm moving too fast. And I hope I get the story right. This is a story I read in one of my books. Can't remember which one. But it was about some travelers that were going across the desert, and they had hired some of the nomads to take them across the desert on the camels. And as they were going, they were moving pretty quickly, because probably Americans, they wanted to get there quickly. And all of a sudden, they just stopped. They stopped. And the Americans said, what in the world are you doing? They said, we're waiting for our spirit and our soul and the soul of God to catch up with us. You know, sometimes we move so quickly through life without treasuring, without cherishing what is happening all around us. We're freaking out. We're not being where our feet are. We're looking to the future. And that's okay to look to the future. But let's don't lament about it. Let's just take a pause. Be thankful for where we are. Be grateful for where we are. And let our spirit, let the soul catch up with us. And I have to do that all the time, y'all. I just get so crazy in my life. You know, I want the only thing crazy about my life to be my hair. That's what I want. I want just my hair to be the only crazy thing. You know, I really do want to slow down. I learned that from my sweet, sweet husband. And I want to talk to you another thing about why books mean so much to me. Books meant so much to me when I was growing up and I was scared. And then when I was very sick, I don't talk about this a lot. And I might write about it when I finally get my memoir written. But I was very, very sick emotionally as a child. 15, 16, really 13, 14, 15, 16. And it was after my dad got sober. And while he was drinking and doing all that, I was seemingly fine. I was being a straight A student. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Doing all the things to be that perfect hero child. But when he stopped drinking, it was like the end of an accident. I don't know what happened. I was sick. I was hyperventilating. I was passing out. I was just every stomach hurt, headaches. There was no physical reason for all my maladies. It was physically manifesting. But y'all, the body keeps a score. Your body keeps a score. So even if you think, like I thought, that I still think sometimes, that I'm above it. I'm not the kind of person who's going to be impacted by what's happening out there. I'm different. I'm different. I don't have to rest. I don't have to take time for myself. I am not hurt by what people say. I am invincible. Okay. Guess what? I'm not. And your body, whether you take heed of it or not, your body will catch up with you. It will say, slow down, stop it, take time, heed my warning. I need your soul to catch up with you. Books did that for me. Books have done that for me. So I read lots of books when I was living in California. Like I said, a time I don't talk about. I was sent out to a psychotherapist guy. He turned out to be crazy as a bed bug. Dr. Williams, Jennings Bryan. I mean, super, you can look him up. Super crazy. I may talk about it more later, and I will definitely write about it, but it's something I knew I would never talk about until my family was gone, because I didn't want to hurt their feelings, because they sent me out there to get help, and he turned out to be just a crazy, crazy, crazy man. And I stayed in California till after I was 16 with a nurse at Whitsett and Van Nuys. So books got me through that. And then when I got divorced, books got me through that. Reading, studying, praying, writing got me through that. Well, and so when I met my sweet husband, when I met my precious, sweet husband, I went to visit him one day at his house, and he had a stack of books. And they were all the same thing. And I said, what are those books? And he said, well, if I see a book that I love, I buy a bunch of them and just give them to people. And I said, oh my gosh, so do I. I do that too. Me too. So needless to say, our life together, we spent a lot of time reading, a lot of time studying the same books, discussing the same books. And it meant so much to me. And sometimes I'll just stop and cry and go, God, if you can allow me to write a book or books that make others feel the way that I felt when I read those books, then it is the most powerful thing I can do with the rest of my life. I can teach, I can love, I can write books that hopefully will impact the lives of others like books have impacted me. So that's just what I'm thinking about today. And I really do want to thank the sponsors from last season. I really thank you so much, Pepsi, for believing me. Thank you for Holiday Beach Mechanical. They have been so precious to me and believe in me. And when I first went to them and asked them, did they want to sponsor me? They said, what do you need? And they just wrote me a check. And every time it's ready, they go, what do you need? And it's, again, I don't know if they're not so sure that what I say brings them more business, but they believe in my message and they want me to spread it. And they believe in putting their money and their company behind what I'm saying. So it's so sweet. And Lacey and Med Spa, they're so precious. They are so darling to me. And I kind of see my little face here. Got my little Botox going on, little filler, you know. I'm not going to use, what do you call that? When you use stuff on your face, like on Instagram or AI to make me look like a different person, but I will utilize fillers and Botox shop, just so you know, and facials. You can get all that there. Bay Tax Solutions, they helped me because they gave me tax strategies to learn how to take my real estate career and get tax benefits from having my big, beautiful building that I love so much. Jute and Palm was a part of last season. Minutes and Miles, they were with me last season. They're still with me. Can't Hide Pretty, they were with me last season. Gypsy Willow is a new sponsor. They also came on at the end of this last season. Ferrucci's came on at the end of this last season. Amore Boutique was with me last season. They're with me now. Lucky's Pine Straw was with me last season. Kevin Kennerson with Lendingham Mortgage, American Home Shield. Thank you to my sweet friends at Hugh Salon for taking care of my hair and for being big believers in this podcast. I thank you so much. I want to especially thank my sweet friends at Short House Furniture for believing in me. They have great furniture, but they're real sweeties. So I thank them for being with me for the last few seasons. Moving forward, we have some new sponsors I'm super excited about. But I thank every single one of these sponsors that were with me from the beginning, were with me last season, and then moving forward, we got some more and you'll hear about them. But I want to thank my mama for telling me how sweet I was. Maybe that's why it's be sweet, y'all. My grandmother used to say, play pretty. And I think she meant just play kindly, play sweetly. I wrote about that last week. And my mom thought I was better than I was. So it made me want to be better than I was. When my mother passed away, I really think her spirit just moved right into my husband. Because Hugh Smith, I will tell you right now, never in my lifetime has someone loved me like Hugh Smith loved me. Never in my lifetime has somebody looked past my messiness, climbed over my stuff, pushed aside my mess to look at me and say, you are a sweet angel. You are a sweet angel. Go do your angel work. He didn't say, you're a mess. Why do you lose 10 pairs of sunglasses in 1 year? I'm being generous. He just looked for the best in me. And I know he'd be so proud that I'm finally getting this book published, the first of my 3. He'll be so proud. I'm thankful to my sweet Heavenly Father above, like Hugh called him Dad. When Hugh got up in the morning, he got on his knees and he'd say, Dad. He looked at God as his dad. Because sometimes you need a dad, and sometimes your earthly dads aren't great. But you got a dad in heaven who's our creator, who loves us just like we are. Just like he made you. But, yeah, I know you've heard this before, but he doesn't want you to stay that way. And we don't, because we want to grow and evolve and emerge as the best us we can be. That's what I want to do. And I think that's what authors have done for us. That's what I hope I get to do for others as I put my book out there. Y'all, let me make sure there's nobody that I've missed that I need to say something about. I thank you that you are, like I said, I'll always be a happy ass. But be sweet, y'all. You'll find it on all our channels and everything. The first book that I'm publishing is called Joy is My Favorite Color. Be Sweet, Y'all is the second one. So be looking out for that. I would ask for your prayers. I would ask for your amazing good energy. I would also ask if you like this, if it means anything to you, if you've heard something that is special and precious to you. I would pray that you put it out there to others. I would thank you so very, very much. And y'all, until I see you again, I want you to be sweet, y'all.